So you might be thinking, once someone passes away in Kansas, their official records just become public, right? Can anyone just walk into a state office and ask for those details?
Well, let's dive right into this. It's a super common assumption that once someone passes, all their records just magically enter the public domain, for genealogical research or maybe just historical curiosity. So if we actually ask the question, are Kansas death certificates public record, can literally anyone just look these documents up?
The answer is a massive, definitive no. Kansas actually guards these documents incredibly tightly. And why? Because the state is working hard to prevent identity theft and fraudulent use of vital records. Look, I know a lot of you watching this explainer right now might be seeking this out because you're dealing with the loss of a loved one. And honestly, it is an incredibly stressful, emotional time. The absolute last thing you need right now is for government bureaucracy to be some huge mystery. So my goal today is to walk you through exactly how to navigate the system with absolute clarity and confidence.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover why these certificates actually matter. Second, who exactly is allowed to request one. Third, the required documents and IDs you're going to need. Fourth, 5 different ways you can apply. Fifth, processing times and fees. And finally, some troubleshooting and final pro tips.
All right, Section 1, why death certificates matter. Let's look at the legal and financial necessities.
There are actually a bunch of real-world scenarios where you absolutely have to have this piece of paper. You're legally required to produce a certified death certificate to settle an estate through probate court, for example. You're going to need it to claim life insurance benefits, to close out bank accounts, or even to transfer vehicle titles and real estate. Oh, and applying for Social Security survivor benefits? Yep, that requires this official proof too. Essentially, to legally transition any assets, accounts, or benefits after a loved one passes, this document is literally the key that unlocks the door.
And here is a wildly surprising fact about how these records even get created in the first place. Kansas law actually requires the initial certificate to be completed and filed by a physician, coroner, and funeral director within just 3 days of the death. 3 days. That is an incredibly fast turnaround required by the state to get these vital records officially on the books.
Moving on to Section 2, who can request one. Let's talk about proving your eligibility.
Because these records are so restricted, the state limits access to a very specific list of people. First off, you gotta be 18 years or older. Immediate family members, so we're talking a current spouse, adult children, parents, siblings, even grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, or nephews, you're all eligible. But wait, what if you aren't an immediate family member? You can actually still request a copy if you're the legal representative of the estate or maybe a beneficiary. But here's the catch with that. You absolutely must provide a legal document, like a will, a property deed, or a life insurance policy, that explicitly proves you have a direct, tangible interest in the estate.
Section 3, required documents and IDs. The state takes this part very seriously.
So the crucial point is that you basically have 2 paths to prove your identity. The easiest route, for sure, is providing just one primary ID. This is your standard, current government-issued photo ID. Think a driver's license, U.S. passport, military ID, or a state ID card. But what if you don't have a government-issued photo ID on hand? Well, then you absolutely must provide 2 different secondary documents. And they can't just be random pieces of mail. They have to be official documents, like a utility bill, a bank statement, or a car registration that clearly show your current address.
Now listen up, because this is a super fast way to get your application rejected. When you're submitting photocopies of your ID, they must show both the front and the back of the document. If you just photocopy the front, the state is literally going to halt your application and send the whole shebang back to you. Don't make that mistake.
All right, Section 4, 5 ways to apply. Let's find the best path for you.
And this brilliantly illustrates the price of convenience. Let's break down the cost for each method. The baseline state fee for a death certificate is $20. If you do an in-person walk-in in Topeka or just send your request by regular mail, you only pay that flat $20. But if you want it faster or easier, you're going to pay extra processing fees. The state's ICANN mobile app adds a $5 fee, bringing it to $25. And if you use telephone orders or the internet via third-party vendors like VitalCheck, you get hit with a $13.95 convenience fee. So that bumps your total up to almost $34.
Now, if you choose the most common and honestly the most cost-effective route, which is regular mail, here is the exact step-by-step procedure. First, you've got to complete Form VS-236, making sure you have the exact demographic details of the deceased. Second, attach those front and back ID photocopies we just talked about. Third, include your $20 check or money order made payable to Kansas Vital Statistics. And finally, enclose a business-size, self-addressed stamped envelope. You'll package all that up nicely and mail it straight to the KDHE Office of Vital Statistics down in Topeka.
Section 5, processing times and fees, setting some clear expectations here.
So there are some pretty distinct time trade-offs depending on how you choose to apply. If you need this document immediately, like right now, an in-person walk-in at the Curtis State Office Building in Topeka takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Not bad. If you use the ICANN app and select Will Call, it'll be ready for in-office pickup in just 1 business day. Phone or Vital Check internet orders, those take about 3 to 5 business days to process before they even ship. And standard regular mail, well, that's going to take 7 to 10 business days, sometimes up to 2 full weeks, just for the processing side of things.
Let's talk a little bit more about that fee. We know it's $20 for the base cost, but what exactly are you buying with that? Well, that $20 gives you 1 certified copy, and it actually covers a 5-year record search by the state. Typically, that means they search the year of death you indicated, plus 2 years before and 2 years after.
But here is a huge warning you absolutely need to hear. The state keeps your $20 fee for the record search even if no certificate is found. No way around it. That's right, you are paying for the search itself, not just the physical piece of paper. So if you provide incorrect information, or say the death didn't actually happen in Kansas, they keep your $20 and you just get a letter saying they couldn't find it. This is exactly why accuracy on your application is absolutely crucial. Finally, Section 6, Troubleshooting and Final Tips. Let's smooth out this process.
Okay, I've got some highly actionable tips for you to keep in mind. First off, order 3 to 4 copies right off the bat. Trust me, banks, life insurance companies, and probate courts often require their own official copies at the exact same time, so having extras on hand saves you from doing this entire process all over again. Second, check your certificate for typos the second you get it. If you need an amendment after 3 months, they're going to charge you another $20. Also, keep in mind, only a funeral director can amend personal information in that first year. Oh, and here's a fun fact. If you're doing genealogy, records created before July 1st, 1911 are entirely open to the public. Lastly, remember that any fees you submit expire 12 months from the date of your request.
If you find yourself needing further assistance, consider this your cheat sheet. The physical office is located at 1000 S.W. Jackson, Suite 120 in Topeka. For phone orders, you can call VitalCheck at 877-305-8315. For you mobile users out there, just grab the ICANN State of Kansas app. And for all the forms and official updates, head straight to kdhe.ks.gov/vital. These are the exact platforms you're going to need to get this done.
As we wrap up here, I do want to make this crystal clear. This explainer provides general information only. Bureaucracy can and does change, and every single family's situation is entirely unique. So always consult official KDHE sources or seek professional legal advice for your specific estate and probate matters.
Dealing with a mountain of paperwork while grieving is an incredibly heavy lift, but honestly, just understanding the system makes it a little bit lighter. So I'm curious, what challenges have you faced when settling a loved one's estate? Do you have any pro tips for navigating all this paperwork? Share your insights in the comments below because your experience might literally be the exact thing that helps someone else going through the same situation. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.